But this mission was amazing. I think it was great. And what I wanted to talk about this week was the balance of body and mind that has made me rethink because of the Inspiration 4. I mean, the thing that I've been learning recently is, and putting into practice, is actually listening to my body. I've been testing out different things about, I've found out I had food allergies, and with scoliosis and old injuries, there's a lot to deal with. But also sitting in front of a computer, that's how I communicate with you guys. That's how I edit this show. That's how I do my engineering work in the daytime in my day job. That's how I do all of my stuff, is sitting down. So I got this desk that does go up and down. I have one at work, so I'm trying to listen to my body. If I'm starting to get stiff, sit down. If I'm sitting down, I'm starting to get stiff, stand up. Little things that can make a big difference in the long run, and not falling into these kind of repeated cycles that I always do. And I've also found out that this episode, this type of episode we call the balance. I talk a little bit about the stuff I'm going through and the balance I'm trying to find in my life, and then we tie it in with the space industry. And this time, the space industry has made me think about the balance of my own self, which is just amazing. Amazing. And one of the things I'm learning more about is ADHD. And the more I learn, the more I realize that most of the things that I talk about on this this thing called the balance is related to that. And by no means do I have biological or chemical, like anatomical science knowledge. Those are my worst subjects in science. So I'm by no means a person, and anything I say after this is merely me repeating things I'm learning. That's how someone who's scientifically minded, when they don't know something, they go about looking for it. That's a lot of the things that we've talked about on this podcast is about the scientific mindset and pushing forward. And so the question is, what does a scientist or an engineer do when they come up against something that they don't know? Where do they start? Most of the time, it's not, I believe the first thing that I see. Oh, that article says that. Wow, that's crazy. That must be how things are now. I'm going to go on with my life, store that, and go through it. That's not how scientists or engineers go about it. They if they're not completely exhausted and just scrolling Instagram, they might go, all right, what's the source on that? Scroll to the bottom. That's all right. What's that research say? Go to the research. Check out the abstract inside the paper. Understand the context of the science. Understand what was actually done, the statistics, and look at it and go about it. Is this good? Are there friends I have in science or engineering that I could ask that know more about this than me? Can you do your own research and then compile that together, and then you have the best answer for yourself that you could have at that time? That's going about scientifically, about figuring out something you don't know, right? And I've been doing that recently with ADHD and understanding dopamine and trying to understand more that this relates to something I've dealt with my whole life. Attention. I was really good at things that were insanely interesting to me. And then the things that weren't interesting to me, I just had a very hard time learning. That's why I had a hard time in school. That's why it took me 7 years to get my degree. Part of it. But no, and as I matured and went through things and actually was caring about succeeding in those areas, I was like, okay, what is it that I'm doing when I'm interested? I'm kind of going back and forth. Oh, I'm only spending a certain amount of time on this. And then I'm looking into research that there's a lot of behavioral methods that you can apply, without having to go down the drug route, or before you even go down the drug route, say, all right, what's behaviorally something that I can do? And there's some research, again, I'm early in this, and you shouldn't take this away as scientific information, but I'm learning that now I have to find how long my attention actually lasts, and then apply that and say, all right, when I set my goals for the day, I have had my attention be around, we'll just say 20 minutes. So when I'm trying to be productive, I'll lay out my schedule in 20-minute sections and do my best to do that. And then that, I know for me, for everything that this podcast has become and everything we do with AG 3D printing, our 3D printing lab, where we bring other people's ideas into reality, like it's about scheduling it out and getting after it. And when I accomplish those things, it's so rewarding. And that could be a behavioral way to allow myself to have the dopamine release I need to be at a baseline where I feel great. I feel good, you know? Um, these are the things that I'm looking into. And also, with my physical limitations, the Inspiration4 mission has made me believe now that I should not let that any of my physical limitations with scoliosis, or I've had some serious injuries, broken ribs, and other things to prevent me from applying or finding ways to become an astronaut, or at least travel to space or be a larger part of science and engineering in space in the industry. Right? Haley Arceneux did it with a prosthetic, and after kicking cancer's ass as a kid, like and helping other kids do the same now. So when you see someone like Haley do it, you believe that you can do it. And I mean, that's just also, it seems, she's just a beacon of you can do it, she really is. It's been so cool to like learn about these people. And they're everyday people. They were just everyday people before this. So anyway, so we've talked about this the last few episodes, but my upcoming episode about what I want to do as an astronaut on missions like these and in orbit is coming up. I've been really going through it in my head, and this Inspiration4 has been huge for getting me through that and to really actually go through it. That's one of the cool things about this podcast, part of this balance, right? This podcast has made me, because as a scientist and like wanting to put stuff out, it's made me be critical about what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well, right? It's helped me get better as a person. And um, this is the kind of stuff, like you just float an idea out there, and then, a mission like this, Inspiration4, I mean, before this mission, I never would have really considered being an astronaut, and it's changed my whole perspective on that. And it doesn't even need to, the next step for me doesn't even have to go into space or orbit. Dr. Sian Proctor did it. She applied to NASA, got denied on the final round, but then was a part of the analog astronaut experience at the Desert Research Station with the Mars Society. Those analog astronaut missions, those are there. You can start developing a mission that you'd want to do in space. I really think this Inspiration4 mission has just opened up the different ways that it can be done, the different ways that missions done under private settings that address things on Earth and then push the boundaries of us on Earth in space. I really do think that with time and more people knowing about this, perhaps this finale with the Netflix documentary will help boost that. It's going to be people like us talking about it, right? The world's in a really weird place right now, and I'm not surprised that people aren't looking up to the stars or even hearing about this mission and wondering, is this something that, or just realizing that the awesomeness of what just happened, right? I still haven't even fully addressed it in my head. I've been putting. It seems like every week this month, it's just been another just like mind blowing realization of they did it. This is amazing. This is a whole new era, and it's making me want to take care of myself. It's making me want to push further, and it's not what I expected.